Hello everyone, this is Luna. In today's lesson, we're going to create the cut-open hollow porous sphere that you can see on this journal cover. This model is completely procedural, so we can adjust the cutting position, the shell thickness, and the pore size at any time. Let's move on to the actual demo. First, delete all objects and clear any unused data. Create a cube, open the Geometry Nodes panel, and add a Geometry Nodes modifier. Hold down Shift+A to add nodes, or you can assign a search shortcut. Mine is set to Shift+Z. First, create a sphere and increase its subdivisions. I need to create a hollow sphere, so I'll use Extrude Mesh to give it some thickness. Uncheck Individual and lower the extrusion thickness to about 0.32. But right now, this is still just a single layer model, so we need to merge the original sphere back in to form the proper shell. To be safe, it's better to use flip face to flip the normal of the inner sphere. Next, I need to cut the sphere. Create a cube, adjust its size and position. Drag it into the Geometry Nodes panel, and use Mesh Boolean in Difference mode to cut the sphere. But the result doesn't look right, and that's because we need to turn on relative mode. Now we get a cut-open hollow sphere, and the next step is to make the shell porous. Create a volume cube and set the resolution to 64. Be careful when adjusting this value, because it can easily cause Blender to crash. We'll keep it at 64 for now, and only increase it when we're ready to render. Use the Noise Textures factor to control its density, and lower the roughness. Then convert it to geometry with volume to mesh, and set the threshold to 0.5. Change the noise scale to 20 to increase pore density. Once again, use Mesh Boolean to intersect the porous cube with the sphere shell, but this cube is clearly too small. We can hold Shift plus Control to preview the cube. And then scale it up by 1.5 times. The model doesn't look very smooth right now, so let's use Set Shade Smooth to smooth it out. Next, let's assign materials to our model. Create a smaller sphere with 4 subdivisions as the inner core, and give it a material as well. Click Render, we'll add a light to illuminate the model. In In the Material panel, open the World tab, and you'll see I've already assigned an HDR for basic lighting. For the shell, let's give it a blue color. To add more detail, we can use a noise texture. Hold Shift plus Control to preview it, adjust as needed, and then add a color ramp for coloring. I also want to add surface detail, so let's bring in a bump node, connect the noise to the height input, and set a suitable distance. Now the surface has lots of tiny bumps. If you want more translucency, turn on subsurface scattering and set the radius to 0.5 meter. This gives the model a bluish transparent look with a reddish tint. Adjust the RGB radii to tweak the transmitted color. I like it with a touch of green. Now let's tweak the texture of the inner sphere. First, set the base color to yellow. Turn metallic up to 1, lower the roughness, but right now the sphere looks too dark, that's because it's being blocked by the reflective porous shell. Select the shell and turn off glossy visibility. To push the effect further, set coat to 1, and now the small sphere becomes highly reflective. At this point, let's add another light to brighten the whole model. Create a camera, press 0 to enter camera view, and find a good angle. Of course, we can also increase the resolution to 128 to get a cleaner, more detailed look. If you feel the pores are too dense, you can adjust the noise scale to get a better balance. Now, even though the inner sphere is very reflective, it still looks a bit dark overall. You can rotate the HDR to change how the reflections look. And that's the full process of creating a cut-open hollow porous sphere with geometry nodes. If you have any other questions, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you. I've also shared the demo file in the comments, feel free to grab it if you need it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.